Good evening to you all. So, by wishing pleasant evening, I wish to invite our Madam Engineer Kamala Gunawardhan to do a little introduction about the today's lecturer and do the inauguration session. Madam, over to you.
Thank you, Himal. Can you hear me?
Yes, Madam.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good evening to all of you. I'm as Engineer Himal introduced that I'm Kamala Gunawardhan. I'm a highway consultant and a fellow representative of the ISL this year. And I take part in Civil Engineering Sectional Committee, and I am doing the knowledge share in leading that team. And we are working with our all the other engineers who are doing the presentation and to give some sort of a knowledge to our members. So I'm happy to involve in this presentation as well. So today's presentation is under the title Suitability and Usage of Standard Bidding Documents. Actually, this is a very appropriate, timely appropriate one that our participants as the civil engineers, you all can entertain and you can grab the most of the essence of that. So let me introduce the key speaker today who is present in this this subject. Is Engineer Brigadier K.D. Pereira, a chartered civil engineer with about 40 years of experience. The specialty of his is actually being the engineer. He has been held several positions in engineering in Sri Lanka Army and later as the Director Engineering Services of the Sri Lanka Army, which has been upgraded him or promoted him, right? He's a well-established personality doing a lot of social activities for the benefit of the members. According to my knowledge, I think he's been an engineer who has ended up with the rank brigadier in Sri Lanka Army. I think I'm correct. Engineer Brigadier Pereira has served as a council member for many years. Actually, he has worked from 2006 to 2012 continuously. So he has, I can understand, he has served many for the institution as well. So also he has worked in the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee, so he knows what is the importance of his contribution for this our members today. So ISL today he also, I think he has not I think he has definitely has been a resource person at seminars conducted by ISL on contract administrations, and while he's been a regular contributor to various forums on contract administration, procurement guidelines, financial regulations, and so on. He's a very active in the development activities of construction industry. So with this remark and without further ado, I invite Engineer Brigadier K.D. Pereira to take over the stage. Please enjoy this evening with this wonderful, valuable webinar presentations. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Brigadier Pereira. Thank you.
Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my friends.
Good evening.
I hope you can hear me. All everything is okay.
Sir, we can hear you.
Right. Okay. Then the screen is okay sharing. Himal?
Okay.
Himal,
yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now I'll proceed. Now as it is. Right. Right. Okay. Now the my subject is I can't see the right suitability and the usage of standard bidding documents, procurement guidelines, and manual 2006. I have put public finance circulars on right. Okay, that is because I think I'm speaking on to the private sector too. However, that these things are required to avoid delays, issues, disputes in government and private sector contracts. I have given the references, all that. I want to make a special on this guide for contract management and procurement management issued by the Ministry of Finance. It's very important. And the supplement manuals, all those things will be incorporated in my lecture today, right? We go to the first slide. The contents of the presentation: who create issues and delays. Public Contract Act number 3 is all there. Errors in the TC. Then deviation and deletion of procurement guidelines. I have put here PGR 521. I'll explain to you later. Why it necessary to have a comprehensive set of bidding documents. Drawing schedule specifications, refer 521. I'll explain that. Procurement entities are there. Then here now the procurement entities, employer, procurement committee members, and the technical committee members' functions and responsibilities, number 7. Then how to establish a transparency. Internal procedures of employees and delegation authority. That's another issue. It is not in consideration with the contractual responsibilities. Right, there are some slides. I will put this one immediately. Contract administrator. Contract administrator, the objective of effective contract administration is to ensure successful completion of a contract according to cost, time, and quality performance, respecting the intended organization policies and procedures of the specifics and regulatory controls. The responsibility of the contract admin function of a construction contract is to administer the contract signed between the parties, namely the client and the contractor. Therefore, the contract administrator is the person charged with daily administrative work due to the contract. Since the contract administrator being an employer's personnel, the employer has an obligation and duty to see whether the engineer or consultant does the delegated function and daily administrative work as per the conditions of contract. A primary duty of the contract administrator is to monitor contractual terms and conditions. In other words, he or her should ensure both parties meet their obligations during the contract performance, as stated in the contract, no more, no less. In industry, the contract admin function is performed by the consultant/engineer. The consultant/engineer has measured the work done accurately and certified the payment certificates correctly, and for the employer to pay within 14 days. Further, the consultant to the engineer should recognize and accept that they always have the responsibility to the public and act in a manner which affirms it. Contract administrators have a very responsible role to play. They must ensure as far as possible administration function done fairly, equitably to minimize disputes, while ensuring the rights and obligations of the parties to the contract are maintained. Then the other one is the acting contrary to procurement guidelines 521. We'll see how it is moving with the rest of the slides. Then I have a last at the moment a questionnaire guidance for the employer. Right? We'll see what are these duties of the employer and the obligations of the employer. Introduction. Now, because of these unambiguous preparation of documents, we speak of delays, issues, and disputes, which can be reduced, minimized by required by the Ministry of Finance. So now this reference supplementary 14 is a very important thing. Only thing I will not put at the moment. It's given by the Ministry of Finance. Now, using this document, now there's another area, SPD 01 and 2 documents, right? That also mentioning about the suitability of the documents. Now, as we know, the present SBDs are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But only thing, my screen is having a little issue, creating problem. Right now, anything these used for measure and pay contracts with the preparation of drawings, except in this SBD 04, that measure and pay contracts, that drawings are not given. So we must see how it is happening. In SBD 04, it is essential to have a drawings and sketches refer 521. I will show all that at the end. Now, we have a master procurement plan, and which says 35 and 36, given the preliminary approval and the final approval. However, I observed that the deviation in the preparation of bidding documents for contracts invite under standard bidding document, and especially in SBD 04. Variation clause has been deleted, and I don't know how this the TC members have overlooked all those things, right? Risk is passed on to the contractor, right? And we'll see about this 521. Now it says 521, specimen forms to submit or draft bidding document. Are you using standard bidding documents? If so, what is the document used? We say SBD is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. If so, did changes due to fall in line with these guidelines? If so, did changes due to fall in line with these guidelines? That is the crux of the issue in today. The guidelines clearly says if you are going to do changes, it should be on line with the guidelines. So no one can go outside the guidelines in the preparation of the document. Right, okay. Then of course, in that case, there is no level playing field. This is not a harmonized document. Now further in this drawing, in this one, we'll see this one. Now in the design and build documents, these are the important things that they are asking. Now, third line, drawings and sketches must be given for design and build. Today I can see it is not happening. It is not happening in today's text that drawings and sketches are not given, and it is only they give some sort of outline on lines, but you can't convert those lines into a correct way of getting a good estimate by giving without giving a drawing. So, and we are violating today this SBD 04 on that giving not giving what we call drawings and sketches. Right, these are some other things that I am going to read all that. So when you have the area to get a higher degree of accuracy in the bidding documents, right? So that is the only way that we can do without going for any dispute. Then chapter 3, I'm not going to read most of the things here because this is on the duties and all that. But here we see that if we are using foreign funded agency agreement required, the procurement entity resort to ICV procedures, PD contract, all that must be done with suitable adjustments. Even turnkey pair, all that can be done using these our documents. However, with all these things, financial regulations and all that, right? We see that tenders given invited by the government and civil government and the private sector are violating the standard bidding documents, guidelines, everything. And thereby, you get all the delays and issues are coming. Finally, loading the expenditure to the Ministry of Finance. Then also in the preparation of preambles, again this same situation is there, not giving correctly how to prepare estimate. Now, because of these things, the Ministry of Finance has issued a guideline for contract management and project management for the infrastructure projects in 2017, where it emphasized the reasons for delays to a project, especially in termination. And in this case, it is mentioning that the TC and the procurement members and the consultants must be careful, because due to this changing of general conditions of contract and inclusion of unacceptable specifications and clauses, and finally end up in adjudications. Further, only thing I can't read. There's a little bit of a technical issue here, right? Now there are various construction procurements are there. They are superseding the procedures in the department. They are superseding the approved SPD documents. That is the biggest issue. They have internal issues, internal procedures. They think that these things can go, but finally end up in all that in the various disputes. So I expect TC members and PC members to be very careful on these matters. And these are the guidelines that it is getting violated. All these things I will come back one by one. And if we can control, if we can do the correct way of preparing a document with these guidelines correctly, then there won't be any issues for the disputes, and thereby we are helping the Ministry of Finance. Otherwise, we are loading with unnecessary funds. Now, I expect the consultants to be more careful in the preparation of this document. Now, we have commenced our construction activities from 1948, right? And all that still we are coming up with different right. However, we noted the employer procurement committee members, TC members, they have failed in their preparation of documents. And not all, but some, and creating issues to the government. Hence, we request the preparation of unambiguous bidding documents for the betterment of the construction industry. Further, the right to observe, mainly now these four books, SBD 01, 2, 3, 4, is quite sufficient to provide services for the government and semi-contracts. Quite sufficient, right? So there is no issue at all. But the issues are not with the content and the clauses. The adoption is documented by the prospective employers, and mandatory these clauses are adjusted in inconsistent manner. That is the issue. Our employers, consultants, I don't know how they are adjusting these clauses, which only end up in issues. Therefore, we must discourage the modification of these clauses. So I request the employees and the consultants to be very careful, otherwise these things will move into other difficult issues. Other thing is employment and consultants must be very careful when they are selecting, and because sometimes they try to dictate, import department and internal circulars into this contract. That is the biggest issue. They are trying to import department and internal circulars to the contract. So all things I had mentioned about these, the employers, clients, procurement committee members, they must be careful, and they must strictly follow the procurement guidelines if we are going to move without any issues on this contract. Right now, there's a circular here issued in. I will show you later that it is all the circulars. Now, this chapter 1, the purpose of this objective, least cost together with higher quality, chapter 1, only thing. When you say least cost, I mean, you can have interpretation. They say value for money, some say cost effective, but only thing we are always asking for high quality, but this has to be maintained. Least cost, I got an interpretation saying that value for money, and also now latest piece also they are talking about cost effective. Then otherwise you can't maintain high quality. Right? So these are some other things that I don't want to read all that, right? scope of approval applications, right? And these also I am not going to read, but some other things have been replaced or repealed. Guideline says the circulars, but when you read the circular for public and circular 451, and also if you go to 27 to 396, all those things are available. But එතන කියන්නේ මේ 203 අපි ඔක්කොම පාවිච්චි කරන 2006 ડોකියුමන්ට් එකට. නමුත් ඒවට විකල්ප ඒවා එනතුරු ඔය සර්කියුලර්ස් ඔක්කොම බලපාතනයි. Foreign agencies, they expect like their guidelines to follow, right? So this is their issue. You can't help it. Ethics in project, right? So this is also another area. I'm not going to discuss all that, right? Corruption, all that is there, but I don't want to say anything. But you must see that these things are not practiced. Conflict of interest also coming, right? No gifts, right, or can be accepted. Officials must be refrained from all that. Laws applicable to procurement action. I have one issue on this issue, right? And there's a supplementary issue, and it has created a lot of issues on that, right? Now, I want to show about this slide. Now, this is Public Contract Act number 3 of 87. It has come in the papers, right? So we'll see what is the issue on this slide. Now, I have seen in the papers and all the documents, they say this advertisement, this act is applicable to the main tender. However, with all these things that I have mentioned here, it is mentioned it is not applicable to the main tender, right? So we'll see this slide. This has been issued by the Ministry of Department or Registrar of Companies. Then make it clear now, the principal tender is not required to register under this act, right? Then මෙතනින් මොකද ප්‍රශ්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් tender එකක් ගියා ළඟදී දැන් ටිකක් කල් පස් දෙනෙකුට මේ ෆෝම් එක ගන්න බැරි වුණා. මොකද they are not submitted with the document. And උඩින්ම දුන්නා මිලියන 50ක් උඩින් දුන්නා මේ tender එක. Finally, anyway, thank God this appeal board has reversed back and it has cleared. But I'm requesting the Minister of Finance and Planning that and the Minister of Commerce and Industry sort out this matter because it is creating a issue on this matter, right? I'm request the Minister of Finance to sort out this matter and remove that what you call the supplement given, so that I'm telling it with authority, with the confidence. These are all the functions of these committee members and all that, right? So Secretary, Supreme Minister are responsible, Chief Accounting Officer. Now this is very important. Now 2.3.1 එක වැදගත් වැදගත් circular එකක් guideline එකක් මේක කියලා තියෙනවා කරන්න ඕන වැඩ ටික හරියට. Before you request for all the PC, this must be completed. But only thing it is not happening. Then මේකේ මොකද කියන්නේ? Uninterrupted implementation of the project. Uninterrupted implementation of the project. තමයි මෙතන කතා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් මේවා ටික ඔක්කොම ඉවර කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මෙතන කතා කරනකොට පේනවා land acquisition, resolving compensatory settlement, relocation of utilities, all that is there. But it is not practiced properly, right? දැන් මේක හන්දම මෙන්න මේ චක්‍රලේඛනයේ දාලා තියෙනවා බජට් එකක් දෙන්නේ. For pre activities මම අහන ඉවර කරලා තියෙනවද කියලා. නමුත් 2017 දීලා තියෙනවා මේ බජට් estimate එකක් දාන්නයි කියලා. මේ කියන ඒවට there must be an estimate. So by this circular they have given that authority. Right? These are some other, I don't want to write all those things. So I'm referring to the role of the employer. Role of the employer means that is their role at the moment, right? And they should ensure with the contractor these things are all sorted out. And so department, all that must be that their staff is involved in this preparation. Now, again, these are the joint responsibilities of the committees. I'm not going to read. Now, at the moment, I think there must be some TC members and the procurement committee members are now listening to this lecture, all right? So I am requesting all that, please do your job, right? So that there won't be any issues on this delays and issues as mentioned. Now, I will show you what is given by the Ministry of Finance and Planning that completely comes on the preparation of the document, right? So these are all their work. They must see that these things are completed correctly, right? So now when you have a what you call thesis and all that, they must complete all these things on time, right? So they can't say that this is more over their routine functions. They must complete when you are given a project to be evaluated. And being another important statement here, specification is a dangerous area for inexperienced employees and consultants, right? So I'm telling about that. Now, these are again the responsibility of the committees, procurement committees. Ensure that the funds are available for the procurement action. Ensure that all these things are done, right? So before that, during the meeting, before the project is awarded. And these are some of the duties they have to look into, right? Okay. Evaluation committees. Now, this guideline 7.4 and 7.5 says that technical evaluation committees must complete their evaluation in 50% of the time. Now, for example, if there's a contract between 25 and 250 million, what they call the bidding period, bid validity period is 91 days. So they must complete everything within 50% of the time. They can't take more than that. They can't have excuses on that. That 5.3.10.1 is that giving all the details, right? So TC members must see that when you are given evaluation, they must complete 50% of the time, and so that there won't be any extension to this document. When you extend, there will be a lot of issues. Some of the contractors might go. So don't allow these things to happen. You have to take extra careful and extra work and do that and complete your project. This TC evaluation. So these are some of the things that is coming up in this one. We see the 5.6 specification. The make a precise and clear specification, right? So I am speaking to the employers or the consultants, right? Are you preparing that way? Only if this is done, the objectives of economy, efficiency, and fairness in procurement be realized, right? Okay, fine. That has to be done by employer, this employer and the TC members. See that these things are done properly. And specifications must be all practicable, not impracticable specifications. I have seen specifications sometimes are not specific and they are conditions. So those must be sorted out. And wait, I made a mistake here. Just excuse me, I have made a small mistake here. We'll close this one. Right, okay. So that's the slide on the 5.6. Then I have shown you 231. I'm not going to read all that. These are some of the things that have to be done by the committees. Approve and issue addendas. Then review the draft contract. These are all done by the employer and the TC members, and they must see that these things are done properly. The suitability of the document depends on how you prepare the document and the usage. Before coming to usage, this has to be done properly. Composition. Now here, when you have your team, you must have some officer the knowledge of procurement procedures. Public finance all must be there. So at least they must know that, except for subject specialists. If they want any expert advice, they can take it from the members of the institutions, but they can obtain only assistance only. However, the TC is responsible for the entire technical evaluation. This is something to monitor the evaluation of these things, right? So my sentence is, we have noted many violations of the procurement guideline manual and changing general conditions of contract. Ambiguity is created and thereby many causes of disputes are coming, which becomes a burden to the country. Please take internal procedures in the departments. So these are some of the things that I have observed. I will tell these things because otherwise it's become finally, it becomes the victim is the taxpayer. Limits of authority all are there. That's I don't want to speak on that. They are raised by these additional circulars, right? Pre-qualification bidders, right? So there is these are some other things that is coming up in the evaluations. We'll see something on that. Mainly qualifying criteria, experience and past performance, resources available, person and all that. Those are the factors that they parameters, financial resources. But I want to show this one. The may circular eligible requirements works contracts I'm coming to see. Arrangement of cash flow for the proposed construction. May request documentary evidence for 3 months cash input. However, restricted requirements such as bank facilities exclusive for the proposed work should be avoided. Right? So now this is a matter that I am not, I have heard, I have seen sometimes they are asking exclusive for the project. Right? Whether it is the statement is correct. Right? So they can't ask exclusive. I have seen in the documents exclusively we want for this project. Right? So this is some sort of a debatable issue, but however, I am mentioning this is coming up in the, I don't know if this has been changed or something like that, but anyone can, during the question and time, they can explain on further on this matter. Now, this is the chapter 4 on this monitoring and planning, all that. I have put some circulars here. Right, these 358, 1, 2, 3, these are very important on the project monitoring. Procurement action should not be commenced without the firm commitment of funds. Employer shall answer for that. This circular says the employer and the contract. This circular says engineer and the accountant are equally responsible to see that the payments are done on time. That's what this says. Master procurement plan. Now these are all for the members of the procurement committee and all that, and they must see that these things are done. But always there is a project director who is monitoring these things, and then based on that, yeah. These are some other things that I don't want to mention all that, but I have mentioned here all that comes under the evaluations. Respond to the drafting stage and all those things. I'm reading all those. These are issues of the procurement committee and the TCs and all those they have to do correctly. If you do all that, then only the correct way of getting a document will come out. Right? Now, recently I saw there's a new circular has come on this in 2018. And when I noticed this, when I inquire about this from the Ministry of from the Public Finance Division, they say this has been suspended. I know the reason. I didn't want to mention here, But anyway, you go through the circular and see why it has been suspended, given in 2018, and suddenly it has been suspended. I'll put this slide here. Just see what is that variation slide. Who is the engineer to the contract? Do the employer staff aware of the different functions to be performed by the engineer as defined in the contract and the engineer working in his organization? Engineer is working in his organization. How does he or she derive authority in administer contract from the head of the department or from the secretary and all the administrators? In order to proceed with the contract as per the general contract and contract data, the employer shall delegate the authority to perform the contract, and the employer shall monitor monthly the variations approved and the cumulative value of variations for the attention of the accountants and auditors. So this is a very important area, but anybody can question later, but this is what should be done. Now, this is on the preparation of this total cost estimate. These are given maximum 5%, 10%, all that might be given, right? So that should be shown separately. So total cost estimate is also creating a lot of issues, right? Now, this is another thing that now this is the circular on provision of total cost estimates. Right? So then direct construction cost, all that explanation, then price escalation, all that has been given, but you have to abide by that. Right. If this what we call this total cost estimate has taken a lot of time, it has been asked to, before you do that, you had update again and then prepare it. Now I have an issue on this subject. Now in this preparation of this estimate, now this is SBD01. Now it says the construction period more than 3 months, you have to allow for the in the price in the document. But I have seen they are already deleted that and not following the conditions of contract and also not following the what you call procurement guidelines. So they take into their hands, employer and the consultant, and they delete these things and create unnecessary issues. Now, these has been done by a national procurement agency with after so many, right? Now, when you remove this, there will be a lot of issues are coming, and already it has started, right? So now, I request they should abide by the guidelines and not to interfere in what is required to be given in the when you say it is mandatory. The mandatory price estimate clause delete kala danawa. I don't know how the employers are behaving in that manner. It's very unfortunate. Now there's a special circular issued on Southern Province, small and medium gate contractors. I would respect this circular issued by the Ministry of Finance, right? NPA. That make it clear small and medium contractors are now මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙලා Southern Province එකේ chairman ගිහිල්ලා හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා NPA ගේ head එතනදී කියලා තියෙනවා මොකද්ද? Even if there's an issue for lesser duration, she can about this chief secretary can give, not to harp on the 3 months and all that. This is for small and medium sales contractors. Make අනිවාර්යයෙන් මේක කරන්න ඕන වැඩක්. Right? දැනටත් ඔය ප්‍රශ්න දැන් මතුවෙලා තියෙන හරියට small and make a NP එකට කතා කරපුවම they have relaxed that. The circular is there. Right? Okay. We'll see. I'll show you. You know, however, if the procurement into requires price variance formula may be used even for works lesser duration. 3 months වලට යන්න අවශ්‍යකම නැහැ. මේක small and medium contracts වල දීලා තියෙන සහනයක්. So we are going against all that and say no, right? So these are not going for good. දැන් මෙතන circular තියෙනවා FR72 කියලා මම එක පස්සේ පෙන්නන්නම්. ඒකත් මේ වැදගත් චක්‍රය මේ financial regulation එකක් කියන්නේ. Right. Now, this is the most important chapter that I am going to talk on about is when you say usage and all that. So I have mentioned about this 5.6 employees, right? මම මෙතන employee requirement එක SPD04 එක මම කතා කර දාන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඉතින් liquid ලියලා දෙන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන්නේ, but I will speak to you later on that subject. Right? Right? Contents of the bidding document should be unambiguous. Right? දැන් මේක තමයි මෙතන අපිට තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ. Right? Unambiguous කියන කතාව නැහැ. Right? It should be unambiguous. Always ambiguous ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? Then make a කියලා තියෙනවා how to use this book standard bidding documents. හරිද? දැන් මේක කියනවා SPD suitable for all procurement. Right? Even public sector, private sector. ඒවා කරන්න ඕනේ නැතිනම් even the foreign funded projects එකක් කියලා use කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා, and that should be done. However, you can't do it in every place, but only thing, if there's anything, you must get the prior consent from the ICTAR. Or then now today's we call what do you call SIDA. So there you have to respect SIDA and see that these things are done. Otherwise, if you do it alone and it finally it bounces back and it goes to the treasury and finally end up in massive financial issues. 531, all the books are there. Now these are some of the circulars which I have already explained, right? All these documents must be right vetted by the committees, right? And they can't avoid that. Again, I'm bringing this specification means modification in addition to the approved engineer, right? But dangerous area. Now these are the other circulars, all that I have lined up here, right? And I have explained certain things, but anyway, right? I have a limited time and all that. So anyway, these are the corresponding areas that we have to look into this. Invitation to bids, all that is there, correct? These are standard things. Eligibility of bidders, but this says if any contract is blacklisted, he should not be, right? Must be given a contract. No contract shall be owed to any contractor who has been engaged in procurement in various things, right? These are some of the things that has been seen by our TC members. Now, this is something that coming up now. ICTAR for the registration, they say you can, when you are going to get a bid, when you are collecting the bid, ICTAR registration, if it has got less, then you can correct it. But when you are submitting the bid, you have to get that updated from the ICTAR. Even ICB and all that, that is same thing, right? Hello.
ගන්නලා රිච් එක ඉතින්.
අයියෙන් හලන්න එපා ඕස්.
සාරලොත් එහෙම කැඩලා කූඩු කැඩේ. ඇඟෙත් ගෑවේ.
ඇන්ඩක් හරි මොකක් හරි දාලා ගත්තා නම් හරි. හරි මේ.
ඇති ඇති.
Can the host mute?
I have muted him.
Terasa, please unmute yourself, please.
I have already done that.
Right, okay. Himal, correct? Himal, okay? Right, okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
right, please.
Now, now these price adjustment, all that. I explain all that. Now just country period 3 months, mandatory. Please follow all that. And no one can go and change these things on your own, right? Foreign funded projects also same thing, right? But only thing we have to follow. But I will be putting this slide for your information. SARC came has issued this circular. This in 2005. Make harman them balapatano, right? The bidding document should define price and payment conditions, including local and or international. All that given must be there. Price adjustment procedures must use an adjustment formula. All contracts contracts with high inflation should have price adjustment. For countries with a stable currency, price adjustment should be included contracts longer than 12 months. Price adjustment formula should not be used in bid value. The above clearly indicate that variation of prices or fluctuation of cost and materials for countries such as Sri Lanka are applicable from the inception of the contract using adjustment formula and paid to the contractor. This application of adjustment formula for contracts longer than 12 months is applicable only countries with a stable currency. This I got the circular from this Dr. Eddie Silva. So if there's any issue on this matter, that we have to see that presently the situation is not good. So therefore price adjustment must be given for contractors. You must not stop all that. Then advance payment is that 20%, right? Now this is also another issue that has been sorted out. Now, if you read the circular 364.3, it says no bonds are required for VAT component. Because මේකත් ලොකු issue එකක් වෙලා තිබුණා. 364 says not required VAT component. හරිද? Either I'm saying the advance ගන්න 20% plus VAT දාලා තමයි මේ accountant ඉල්ලන්නේ, right? So finally it has been changed and they have put a new circular has come after so many years. It says, I'd like to inform you that the advance payment guarantee may not cover the VAT component, right? So this is after so many years, about 5-6 years. This has been going on and finally it has been sorted out. I want to mention about this slide. දැන් මේ circular එකේ කියන්නේ acceptance of guarantees and security guarantees. මම මේක ගත්තා. මෙතන කියන්නේ they say for insurance companies, but all security and guarantees should be on demand. දෙවෙනි එක මෙතන කියන්නේ Federal Department or the exchange agency should ensure that the contract period is realistic and only if he is satisfied that the contract has delayed the contract deliberate or perpetually, the performance one can be claimed. දැන් මෙතන මේ කතාව එන්නේ when you do the termination. Terminate කරපු ගමන් then the employer start encashing these things. But anyway, they must see that before you even if you terminate, but these things must be done. If they have paid and all that must be considered, and also considering all that only that should be encashed And I will show this one too. Then මෙතනත් අයයක් කියලා තියෙනවා when right when you are paying the advance guarantee, when you advance payment, it has been told that to inform these insurance companies, it is not only insurance companies, construction guarantee fund, banks, everything. The employer must write to the bank and say, this is the situation of that. The bank advance has been now deducted, and this is the present amount that is available. This has to be done for good practices. Sometimes the accountants say that is not in our scope and all that, but when the advance is getting reduced, you must inform them so that is better for the contractors when they are getting another, what do you call, guarantee. Retention of construction works and all that. I have mentioned about this performance security 20, right? I have mentioned about the circular format. Encashment is a very, very big issue that has to be done, sorted out correctly. Performance security for, right? No, I have mentioned about this payment of value-added tax. No guarantees of that component. Specifications I have mentioned that just be done properly. Not impractical specifications. Specification is a dangerous area for the inexperienced clients and the consultants. So we have to be careful on this matter. Clear and precise. Specifications must be given, and they are given in the ICTAD also, right? Employers requirements SPD 04. We'll see this slide. Now this is the employer's requirement in SPD 04. දැන් මේකේ කියලා තියෙන විදියට උනාට මෙහෙම ලියලා දැම්මයි කියලා මේක කන්වර්ට් කරන්න බෑ ඩ්‍රොයින් එකක් නැතුව BOK එකට වැඩ කරන්න. Right? So we have misunderstood this. That's why I don't want to talk on this matter. I show a slide. And then it has to be given when whatever that is given here, the contract is able to convert this into a getting a BOK item correctly. Otherwise, after every time they say this is not what we request, and this is what you are giving, and there will be clashes on that, right? So this is complete. We are misusing the SPD 04. So we will see how that has been sorted out. Extension of bid value period. I told you that it should be done. There's no, you can't give excuses. When that validity period is 91 days, you must complete within 50% time. Take your routine time, all that, do extra work and finish it off. So that, yeah, if you extend it, there will be issues for the employer, right? After getting up the bid document done, there will be issues for them, right? Now these are the various stages of this bid examination, validity of bids, discussion, all that there, right? Then, right, I want to tell something about this, right? There was a tender of 5 billion, something like that, and then 4 billion, the two tenders, something like that, right? Okay. Now we saw this 4 million bid has not been signed by the employer, by the contractor. So now, according to the rule, if the former bid has been not signed, it has to be, you can avoid it. So we let go to the next one. Next one is 1,000 times better, 1,000 times more. Can we have that type of situation in the country? So 1,000 million is going because of the signature. Why can't we give that discussion to the TC or the employer and get him down and get that signature? That is up to you all to think of that, right? So that's why I have put this here. Give discretion. Like a vector, 4 billion එක හොඳයි, but it has not been signed. I don't know whether it's purposely or by mistake or something. So the evaluation has to go for 5 billion. 1,000 million on public interest, we have to look onto those things, right? Right, and that is the other issue. Award of contract is very important. Prior to the contract award, the P should ensure that the budget provision is available to meet the cost of the contract. Letter of acceptance must be issued within the validity period. Our TC members must work hard and see that it is done within the 50% of the time as given in the 5310. I'll show about this 531, right? 871. Now this is guideline. So funds should be available. Now execution of contracts, you must have a what do you call some sort of a agreement must be signed, right? Now in government department, there's an issue on this matter. I want to show this slide to you. Contract agreement. Now employees the chief secretary, employees the secretary of the ministry. He is not going to sign for 25 million contract. So that has been delegated to the down the line. Only thing we can't expect when you go to education and all that, employer has not signed. No, this is as per the 8.9.3. We have to accept that he is not going to sign small contract, but it has been delegated, and 25 million, 100 million like that, more than 500, all that is there. So we have to accept when the contract agreement has been signed, it is also on behalf of the employer. Publication of contract award must be done, right? And it should be done and get the others to say what they have done and all that. We'll see this 8.12.2. Certificate of work. Now, when you see this guideline 8.12.2, the consultant has issued the certificate of completion that the works have been carried out according to the specification agreed with the terms and conditions. Payments are certified in accordance with the conditions of contract. Then I am asking, what is the delay for the accountants to pay this money, pay this bill? What is the delay? Now, conditions of contract says as this same thing, they say get the guidelines, it should be done accordingly. That means 20, for example, 21 days for the engineer, 14 days for the employee. So this is also in line with the guideline, right? So then there cannot be any delay in the payment issue. Please note all accountants and auditors to follow. Right? If there anybody now in the audience, right, they can question me at that time. Contract administrator, 21 days to the consultant and 14 days to the employer. This is another important area, variation order. The conditions of contract will normally empower the employer to vary all that is given there, up within the approved limits. Now, lecture no, it is wrong. Add with the consent of the contractor. He said, the maker ISL again prosthetic of Timuna treasury got the NPA take. Why how would that employee given all that power here? Now they answer, they say procurement guidelines do not allow employer to change the conditions of contract unilaterally after signing the contract. Right? And they say it cannot be done. But employer, as an employer, they say their quantities are exceeding, then he may require some variations and then he should be allowed. That is, and what they say is but employer has doing this request for his requirement as per the procedure given in the guidelines. But the Treasury writes further and say, however, issuing the contract variation order is upon the conditions of contract. මෙතන කියලා තියෙන්නේ employer ඕනෑ කරන්න පුළුවන්. නම් ඒක එහෙම නෙවෙයි interpretation එක යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ employer ට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා variation එකක් අවශ්‍යකමක් ගන්න. හරිද? You can't stop that. Then he has to approve these things also there, right, in the as per the financial regulations, but only, right? But he says that it should be given. But the issuing of the variation order is in line with the conditions of contract. Right. Okay. So these are some of the other variation orders. Always a contract variation order is given because to obtain approval from the financial matters. Right. So these are some of the approving areas. Approving authority when condition provisions exceeded. Right. I'm putting this slide for you. Right now, the Treasury says it's a high burden on the PE and the government. Right? When the variations are so much, they say that you are diluting the procurement process. Who are preparing the document, they say you are diluting the procurement process. All the professionals, everybody has prepared the document and finally see that so many variations are given, and they are writing and say you are diluting the procurement process when awarding the contract. Right? Everything must be taken. But anyway, however, anyway, savings accumulated on the reduction of quantities or deletion of items can be paid without following the normal procedure. Right? So ISL has been fighting for this issue since 1997. If there are any savings in the quantities, ISL has been explaining to the Treasury. Right? So I can remember most of our presidents had fought for all that, and finally it has appeared again in 2007. Right? Okay. These are some of the things that is going. Statement if the current variation is due to any change in scope, explanation from the procurement entity why it has not been foreseen at the design stage. Design stage make right? So this was another big issue. Right? Why it was not foreseen at the design stage. These are the things that is coming up. You must have a good employee, must give a comprehensive report for the consultant, and the consultant must prepare it properly. In the building high electricity board power cables high. Building I think change various things are happening. So these are some of the things that are on my experience, but anyway, this should be taken very carefully by the procurement entity and see that this is done properly. Extension at time, yes, can be given, right? But anyway, we'll see these three slides. You can read it slowly. If there's an employer delay, this is the rule. Right? And it delay impacts the completion of the works. Right? And this will only leave LD from the contract. But taking over the prolongation cost is not easy. He must prove that there's no other delay. Right? And then only that he will be able to claim that. However, this category delay is called the concurrent delay. Rule number 3. Where a contractor delay to completion occurs concurrently with the employer's delay to completion, the contractor's concurrent delay should not reduce any extension of time which is due. Now, this is the most important area. After reviewing all that, I'm coming to the summarized decisions. Employer in the preparation of documents must be done properly. Now, this is coming up in the preamble. The preamble even the best of contractors cannot quote for them. Even the best of contract cannot give a grade for these items. So these I am pointing the finger to the consultants, right? So be careful, because when you do all that, definitely they will come other way and try and say that these are not up to the not required, this cannot be done, and they will ask for a a claim, and various things will occur, and finally the projects are getting delayed. But please ensure that these in the preambles too, that you give something so that this can be quantified correctly. Right, summarize presentation of the violation of procurement guidelines. Price adjustment, don't delay. I explain all that, mandatory. Internal procedure, right, government department, these are all illegal if you delay, they are deleted. Now, letter of acceptance, right? Now, letter of acceptance is a very important thing. Then letter of acceptance method, when you are reading, it should include free from new conditions. Now, this is make a violate Kamar consult, the Kamar employees. They include unnecessary things in this letter of acceptance. It clearly says it should be issued within the validity period and free from new conditions. I employer, I consultant, I knew with new conditions, right? Because they make Kilatina important how they for the construction. Very good. Performance security takers, then a dowsa kiangati. What is the amount that I have seen some other letter of acceptance make kirane, right? Performance security diniak contractor to have better performance security did not commencement date did not yield. Right? So this is something on that, but we are very careful on these matters. And so when you say performance shall be submitted on or before date, because 28 days security is there, but you must ensure that before at least 7 days or 14 days, get the performance security and see that you tied it down for the contract period. Now I have seen now in this letter of acceptance they are writing the extension is when granted, no cost for the extended period. Now these are some of the things that is coming up in the letter of acceptances. Review must be done by the NPA. Now this clause has been deleted. 13.8. Right? I don't know how these have been deleted. So that is the situation. And SBD 01 and say that these are getting modified, deleted. Right? Inclusion unfair cause and violating type guidelines, right? 521 is very important. 231 is very important. Again, I'm telling about this one, why it was not foreseen the change in scope. Payment delays, there cannot be that even payment delays are there, but you can use this 8 point new circular supplement it's given on 2007 for payments. Delay in obtaining tender board approvals for the variations. Why is that? The tender board shall sit regularly and see that these things are done for, as early as possible. Otherwise, these things will not move. Conflict of statements in the letter of acceptance. Provisional rates are not given. Pending. It is given correctly in the document, but delays in payment of quantity exceeding. Why is that? Now this I know certain department, they are paying at the end of the month, at the end of the project. Quantity exceeding and the variations are all that. I don't know presently are they doing it, but it has happened. That's why I have put it here. We'll just read about the design and build this document. I got this from another engineer, right? Now this design and build procurement experts believe that detailed BOQ should not be given. All risk factors are to be managed by the contractor. Some experts advise the public sector agencies shall give less BOQ items as much as possible. They strongly believe that claims are coming to the public sector clients due to detailed BOQ in the bid document for design and build contracts. Natural tendency is to give all possible risks to the contractor, and client expects an attractive financial offer as well. If resources are able and the competent line agency to prepare a detailed BOQ with quantities. However, it is the responsibility of the employer to prepare detailed BOQ with quantities as done earlier in the design and build contracts. It's referring FR 35 and 36, right? All that given there. Instead of that, procurement experts suggested to define the scope of work under employer's requirement and not to give a detailed BOQ to avoid claims. Some public officers strongly believe that clients should not give preliminary detailed design and detailed BOQ for design and build contract packages. They must give conceptual drawings as much as possible to quote correctly. BOQ provisions are be given for soil inspection, survey work, all that must be done, right? Then only you can get a cost-effective design. In addition, design and build contract building projects, some government departments have deleted the very variation clause. Yes, I have seen which clause has been deleted. It's an illegal thing. Document, right? Further, it should be mentioned that the design and build delete clause, even unforeseeable, has not been there, and passing all the risks to the contractor. National Procurement Commission should educate ministry secretaries and agency leaders and private consultants, organizations, in order to minimize the risk factors to the contractors and give details as much as possible with quantities and mini drawings in order to get an attractive financial offer. So these all have been misused, and even these are given for small contracts. So it has now become a design or some sort of fashion. Small contracts are given. Finally, my personal report is that government is a dilute the construction industry as well as the economy of the country too with illegal and corruption clauses. All these illegal and corruption clauses, unfair clauses, triggers issues, delays and claims, and adjudication of the projects, and victim being the general public. Drafters of this bidding document will be thinking that they have saved unnecessary claims and prove the government agents that they have prepared a good financial estimate to the employer's requirement. But they do not know the financial prevention they have done to the project. And finally, the procurement agencies give another financial burden to the general treasury when the contract is obtaining all dues under the common law with interest on the due date. Who is the victim of these issues, delays, etc.? I'll be failing in my duties if I do not mention the role played by our technical level members and procurement members in the evaluation of documents. They should also be held responsible approving the inclusion of illegal and corruption clauses in the bid document. Without observing these deficiencies in the document, the various procurement not only approved but later contracts end up with claims in adjudications, arbitrations, and courts where they will find it came all under the common law. So these I got from an engineer, and it has been given to the various national procurement agents. Right? Minor contracts, what are that? So I am cautioning the consultants on this matter. Now, public contract acts must not appear in any of these documents, right? So these have been taken up by the ICTA chairman with the DGPF. There is another issue: permits, license approvals. The role played by the employer, not attended by the employer, right? Okay, not providing adequate assistance in obtaining permit from authorities. How again? By the Ministry of Finance. Right? Now, this is what I got from that thing. Now we say failure in handing over the price procedure. The ministry is saying failure to obtain obstructions, delays in providing instructions or drawings, delays in making payments, suspensions are due to bad management, unnecessary interference test. Number 7 is the one that is the drugs issue, not providing adequate assistance to get approval of authorities. That is correct. The employer and the consultant must take special interest on this matter. I can see that the what you call projects are getting delayed, because when you say when you ask on the contract, they say we have to go to the forest department, we have to go to GSM, we have to go to the what do you call the department of various places they have to go, and even sometimes the government agent, and then Pradesh Sabha Legam, all places, because they had to get this approval. But Treasury is telling not providing education to get the approval authority. So Treasury is pointing the finger to the employer and the consultant. You must take leadership on this matter. Otherwise, we can see for sand, earth, various places, how this without all that projects are getting delayed. So I'm stressing on that. Please see that this is done so that there be. Now again, this delays in evaluation of variations, new rates, all that is there. Unreasonable variations. Right. So this is for the employers and the consultants. Right. Please ensure with the contractor. Don't send only the contractor to these places. You also get involved and see that this project is completed. Yes. They are given in page 135 of that this guide. Right, this guide is very, very important. It has been prepared by some engineers also, right? And page 135, not providing correct contributions, reasons for delays, employer not providing uninterrupted in project. This guideline says, give the reasons for delays. We see this one. This we have already done. Quantity exceed payments must be paid. The supplementary 14 has been given. There cannot be any delay. Termination encashment guarantees be disciplined. Right? And if you see the page 115 of this guideline, before you terminate the contract, you must get the pros and cons from the Attorney General here. Our employers or the consultants they go and do these encashments, and finally, as mentioned earlier, it's bounce back on the employer. So this is given correctly in the page 157 of the circular of this guideline. Get the pros and cons. They have seen so many terminations done, and finally end up in courts and paying the price. Practical, impractical, and disclosure specifications. Some specifications are conditions. Then it clearly says how payment should be done. Right? I want to show this slide for your information. මේ slide එකේ කියන්නේ 2001 එකක්. Treasury එකෙන් කියනවා in some instances, the head of department has not been even aware of the extra work undertaken. මේකට case එකක් තියෙනවා. 159 estimate එක ගියා 189 වලින් I think this something in the area of 2000. Right? So 30 million has gone up. Head of department is not aware of it. So that is the situation. We'll see this one. Then Treasury in Kenya, right? When you see that the cost is getting increased apply for FR72. And don't wait till the work is over to avoid delays in payments to contractors. This paragraph which I have given in yellow is very, very important. What is FR72? Revision of total cost estimate. Quickly you must do it. The Treasury says not to delay the project. But when the cost is going up, you must go through the procedure and finish it off. The contractor is working. Variation order says, no, you can't avoid giving all that. Contractor says he's bound to do it. But you can say that there are no funds, but only has some other contractor, they go and do it. But it is up to the employer consultant to see that these things are concurrently done without waiting till the work is over. I gave lectures in the Sri Diet, accountant ke මේ සුද්ධ බිල එනකන් accountant දන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඉතින් accountant මේක කියන්නෙත් නැහැ. accountant ලා සමාකාර consultants ලා කියන්නේ නැහැ මෙහි බිලක් එනවා කිය. So those are the practical issues that is coming up. And how can we run? Right? So that circular says 136 එකේ කියන FR එකේ එතන කියනවා the certifying officer and the authorizing officer must meet and see that the funds are available. Because at the end of 35 days, a bill is coming. So, circular hari වැදගත් දේවල් කතා කරනවා. So that's why I am pointing. I not have nothing against anybody, but I am telling this because these are all helping for the contract to function. These are some other delays. Right? Reasons for delays, I write. Okay, I'm going a little fast. Time is also running out. Reasons are all given. Right? We'll see how. There's some other things that is coming up. So this I have already spoken. Right? Recommendations. Right, so I have mentioned all these things while I am talking. 364, all that. Right. Now we'll quickly come back to this questionnaire guidance. Now this is the active report, right? Employer shall ask the engineer the following question for the best practices in the project or contract to be implemented and complete account the conditions of contract and the contract date. The employer should seek the answers from the engineer as he is the employer's representative and suggest then the accountant and the auditor to be there with the employer. When the employer questions the consultant, auditor and the accountant, they must also be there. I don't know why they are not taken to this meeting. I don't know whether this is happening in the country today. Right? These are some things. Then employer, do your minutes indicate whether the contract received drawings? Specification, minister, employer, consultant. Have you prevent the contract from performing the contract? All these things I will give a hard copy, soft copy, right? But anyway, these things are very important. May employer state or indicate the possible intention to claim additional time and cost. Employer to කියන්නේ. Yeah, when නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ එකයි දැන් මම පෙන්වන සර්කල් එක. Employee time and cost යනකොට ඒ issue එක යන්න ඕනේ to the chief accounting officer to the treasury funds. So these are some things. Then until current correspondent request drawing specifications right? The employer is there any delay because employer is asking this because on behalf of the government, right? On the treasury, is there a delay? Employer then what is the issue? Similarly, these things all has to be done, right? And may insurance bonds guarantees all that must be done. Progress of works under each BOG item must be done, right? Then NCS how what is the procedure? What is the progress? All that. any material varies the contract period or contract price with financial details on and within a person any make if there anything coming from the future, please let me know. So I'll have to go to the treasury, I'll have to speak to the chief accounting officer. Right? So all that must be done, right? Then if you give us that all the details, excesses and savings and all that, then that can be used for the payment. So the employer again, consultant, there are savings here, there are savings from the other side, right? So that then this can be paid, right? So you must arm with all those things. I am speaking to the consultants. Some other things that is coming up here, right? So we will see all that. Instructions. Do your instructions consider any variation? Has the contractor confirmed the instruction as a variation? Has the request for cost and time? Have you approved the variation? Are there any correspondence? Time and cost, have you responded? Is it going to increase the contract sum? What is the amount? Have you informed me? Give me the details. Have you obtained my approval? Is there the employer engineer again? Is there any delay from my end? I have put your employers, please note. Otherwise, this is not going to run. Then is there delay from my end? Right? Employers, please note. These are some of the things that is coming up. So I have mentioned about these things. Are you within the approvals given the contract data? Variations. How many variations are approved? What is the cumulative value? Is it within the 10% contingency? Are the contingencies available? Is it within the allocated? All that is there. Is this variation on the change of scope? Why it was not being foreseen at the design stage? Right? All those things are there. Right? So, have you changed the general conditions of contract? Why? Are there any correctional clauses, leading delays, issues, all that? Right? So this has to be done at the earlier stage, but I am putting up here on this presentation regarding this. Before you go for all that, this question must be asked at that time, right? Have you taken the consent from the CEDA? Contingencies, how many, all that is there. Have you exercised authority? Competitive questions, quotations. Right. Employer, have you changed the general conditions of contract? We are come to the end of the lecture. We see. Right. Can there be any ambiguity in the document? Dealing the claims. Have you read out the budget for right? All that is there. All these are done in good faith, right? I have nothing, right? But anyway, this for the thing. So I request. It's the end of the presentation. Right now, it's time for answering questions. I'm prepared to answer, right? So let us start.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very well presentation. So I'll click into the chat box. There are several questions raised by Engineer Nimal Ranasinghe. So I am raising one question. Do you justify the ad hoc practice of the addition of undisclosed contingency provisions to the tender BOQ total and issue the letter of acceptance? This amount will be the initial contract sum and will be the basis of deciding the amount of performance bond, LD limit, etc.
Yes, I can see your question is right. I would like to repeat that question. There are so many things that he has requested. But anyway, give me the, at least some. Can you repeat that question? As the very, very long question.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll repeat it.
Yeah. Just go slowly.
Do you justify the ad hoc practice of the additions of undisclosed contingency provision?
No, you can't have that. No, undisclosed. These contracts must be there. No, undisclosed, because this has been mentioned. That is why now we say that don't do any changes. Then you're asking for trouble. But so now what I say is that he's asking something like that, ad hoc and all that. If you prepare an unambiguous document, that answer is there. But after doing all that, I will not be able to say that, because then it becomes a bespoke, some sort of contract document, and that is a one-sided contract, right? So you have to discourage all that. See that guidelines are given, conditions are there, circulars are there. Please follow it and do it. Why can't you do it according to that? That is my answer by that question. If it is not enough, I think very long questions. We can take it to the ISL Brilliant Committee and also the ICTAD and see what he's asking. Right. What is the next one?
Thank you. So another question is to address the undue delay in settling interim payments in the public sector, and also to safeguard the rights of the subcontractors plus interim relief for the adjudication decision. Do you advocate statutory adjudication regime with the Security of Payment Act be the best solution?
Right. Anyway, now that's also too long. But anyway, let me know. Come by one now. It's very difficult to get that right. Come back again, Iman.
So this is also same from Engineer Nimal Ranasinghe. To
Yes.
address the undue delay in settling interim payments in the
Wait. We'll go on by. There cannot be undue delay, right? Now, they're all when you see the circulars and all that, if you have taken FR into action, there cannot be any delay. And even the savings are there, the treasury has allowed you to go ahead, right? So undue delays will not come, provided that your document is also correct, but at the same time, variations are coming up that can be paid. If you are exceeding the amount and all that, similarly, you must quickly take FR into action and sort out the matter, rather than keeping for the last moment. That is we can't allow. I think I have answered that question.
And also, sir,
excuse
sir. No. And also, he's in this he is asking about also to safeguard the right of subcontractors plus interim relief for the adjudication decisions.
That is, of course, now these are some other best practices. If you now the subcontractor has to be paid, right? When the main contractor has taken subcontract, now sometimes something like that. So that those things can be done, right? Otherwise, with the various issues and all that, payments are not done. So these are, you can't go back on these items. Now we have come 40 years of construction experience, and we can't be talking about that delay, this delay. Now, when you see that the ministry has given the reasons for all that, so these are all contributing to all that, right? So employer and the consultant must take quick action. That is what is required, and that's finished it off. The treasury says delay in payment to contractor. Treasury is telling. So we can't understand why the contractor employers are not paying. Huh? I cannot see, because these circulars have been given and that has to be followed. If they are not followed, all these issues will come. What is the next question?
And also in the same question, he is asked, let's see the suggestion, do you advocate statutory adjudication regime with the Security of Payment Act be the best solution?
I can't wait. Now, actually, there is a payment. Earlier, there was a payment guarantee given by the employer to the contractor. It has been stopped, right? In 2002, I can remember, because if there's any payment delay, there is a clause also there in the document SPD01. The contractor can get 75% with the employer's signature from the bank. So those are the things that is has to be done. So I can't exactly speak on that, what the latter part of that he's asking. So if I am not answered, because this is some other things, you can't give all in black and white. There are certain things that have to be done, right? So some of the questions that he's asking also that cannot be answered in all in black and white. Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ah.
The next question is, can the client go ahead with the addendum to the contract when they need to execution without agreeing the final resources required agreed by the consultant? Within the bracket, construction supervision projects, such as man months required for the supervision team, and can they conclude and ask the consultant to sign the addendum? That is the question, sir.
That is also too long. I think I
So
have to
what
give
is-
the same answer that
Okay.
all that cannot be done by just asking this question. I think I prefer that this has to be, can anybody answer in the audience, if anybody is there, so that he can get an answer on that. Otherwise, this has to be referred to the SIDA and the sorted out matter. Right? Okay. But else?
So another question, as for the addending or modification of COC, for example, employers use and add or modify the following contract condition through the contract data. For measure and pay types contract based on SIDA SBD. Are these addition or modification amount to violations of the SIDA by a qualified person within point directing maximum labor rate as base rate for the evaluation of basic rate for variation provisional sums items SBD 12.3 clause. Another point, cap on maximum overhead and profit percentage to apply to basic rate in evaluating variations of provision sums items.
Anyway, his questions are very long. But anyway, yeah. Right? I have answered even in this one. It's very difficult to get when you're asking in a place like that. Now, in various things. Now again, I got to come back and say, modifying cannot be done. Must discourage. If that can be stopped, if they can respect the employees and the consultant, respect all that, these things will not happen. These things will not happen. So that is my answer for that. Otherwise, by always, what do you call, you change the general path that is given in the conditions of contract and the guideline, so that the unnecessary issues will definitely not come. And also, I request what do you call ICTAD to sort out the matters properly, right? Because there are certain things which I have no control at the moment.
Okay, sir. Another question is, I think it's very important in this time. If the price adjustment is included in the contract, if we extended the contract, whether we can pay the price adjustment claim?
Yeah, that is given in the conditions of contract. If it is extended, but there's a calculation is there, it should be paid. It should be paid. But only they take in these indices and all that from the last month. That's all. But otherwise, it can be paid. You read that the conditions of contract clause is there. It can be paid.
Yeah. The next question: allow lump sum for employing employing suitably qualified and experienced technical personnel of the full-time basis for construction management service at the site. Within the bracket, mode of payment in equal to installment over the contract period. Item.
What is that question? Huh?
It is ask allow lump sum for employing suitably qualified and experienced
No,
technical
first of all, I must tell you, right now, when you are deciding on a suitable qualified or person or that, you know exactly what is the payment that has been done, right? So what I prefer is that this type of thing, when you are preparing, it should be on a provisional sum. There can be any case, so that when there's a PS item, when you say lump sum, then you can't do anything. So what I prefer is give a PS item, and if there's anything going above or something, we can use the contingency positions and get that amount, right? Otherwise, there will not be any end to this lump sum issue.
Thank you, sir. The last question, I think this is the last question. What are the general practices where we can implementation and instructor to reduce or minimize the variation when progressing in an ongoing project?
Wait. Already I have answered by this question. Now, can you repeat that question?
What are the general practice where we can implement and instruct to reduce or minimize the variation when progressing in an ongoing project?
Wait. The point is this. Now we are violating all that. Now the ministry has told, don't dilute the procurement process. Employer must give a correct what is required. He can't give halfway the requirements to the consultant, and consultant give us something. When it goes to the ground, what happens is these unnecessary things are coming up. So I had to point the finger to the employer. First of all, rather than consultant, he has done this. He has created this issue. He has created this issue unnecessarily, right? Otherwise, this question is straightforward. If you are perfectly prepared, again, I am telling you, ministry has told, don't dilute the procurement process. We are doing all unnecessary wrong things and asking various things, and for their benefit. No, you can't do that. We must have some sort of discipline on this matter.
Yeah.
Discipline on this matter. Otherwise, there is no. Yeah, you can't have. If you do all those changes, you are asking for trouble. But there's anything? Anything else, Himal?
No, sir. So, what we
wind
shall
up
do?
anything? Huh?
Yeah, we can wind up. So before wind up, I wish to cordially invite Engineer Khatipan Turairaja to deliver our vote of thanks for our lecture, and the Engineer Turairaja, over to you.
Thank you, Himar. Can you hear me?
Can.
Yes,
Hello?
yes, sir. Yes,
thank you, sir, for your great presentation. Engineer time, and we also like to thank everyone who participated in this lecture with a limited timing, and also we are very grateful to the knowledge sharing committee and civil engineering sectional committee and the members of it. If I missed anyone, I am very apologize to them, and I ask them for the great things they have done to us. I acknowledge everyone once again for doing this great presentation. Thank you. Have a great day. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brigadier. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night, madam. Good night. Good night to all.